Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Today's video, Stellar XLM. We'll have a quick look at this interesting, we'll call it an article. It's actually a presentation essentially on Yahoo Finance from the CEO, Danielle Dixon. Really cool. She was talking quite a lot about the blockchain and crypto in general. But of course, it's a big topic about regulation. And more interestingly, from my perspective as well, is the mention of who is indeed delving into CBDCs. I'm trying to maximize this. Hopefully, you guys can see this clearly. Well, it's no surprise, really. I've been saying this since we started the channel. I've been saying it generally for the last 2-3 years. People are sort of saying, like, we'll never go into a system like that. You never switch it on, blah, blah. And here we are, in a very interesting phased perspective of life involving finance and the way that we will eventually be operating ourselves. And this is just the beginning, guys. Like, CBDCs is just like the financial side. There's so much more to it. Potential social scoring, the ability of what you can and cannot spend your money on, behavioral patterns. All of these things will eventually coincide with this. And that's what I was saying in some of the videos, is like, soon everyone will have a path to go down the decentralized route or the centralized route. And most people are generally happy to just plod along with whatever's told to them by the news and all the banks around them, etc. So let's see which path everyone takes. I've already chosen mine back in 2015. I think you can probably guess which path I took. But anyway, for the sake of conversation, we do like to talk about CBDCs in the sense that it's actually a massive technological revolution, whether you like it or not. It's actually incredible what's on our radars. And of course, we cover things like Project Jura and Helvetia, very much so through BIS, and what they have going on with the innovation centres here in London. And it's something for sure where all these articles come out in the media. Oh, CBDs is something we're looking at, and obviously, like, do what they do, not what they say. It's very obvious that they're working very hard on this. Of course, things going on around the world right now are crazy, but indeed, look at all the conversations about SWIFT and everything like this. It's just almost also a passage towards a new identifiable financial system. And I'm sure this topic will come out more and more, and it will just become out to people as if it's a normal thing. Oh, by the way, guys, we've switched this thing on. Hope you enjoy it. But 9 times out of 10, people won't know what's powering it, how it works. They'll just get on with it. So I'm really excited in that aspect from an investor perspective. But that's clear. Those countries are already involved in the aspect of being on their radar of projects in general for CBDCs. But also the fact that the license requirements, they're indeed pushing this regulation hard. And we've seen even in the US recently with Biden, of course, pushing this narrative of crypto regulation and this, that, and the other. There's so much more to that. But for sure, it's indeed a big part of it is to influx the CBDC system around the world. The question will be, in my mind, what could be the universal currency or indeed the reserve currency? And this is perhaps why I've always said for the last few years, dollar's been diminishing. The XRP lawsuit's been going on for some time. And I've always believed that they're working together anyway to identify that XRP could potentially be like the entity token that helps with the transactional perspectives and bridging around the world for a universal dollar, potentially making sure that they obtain the leadership in that. Because of course you've got China and I believe Russia as well were trialing their own CBDC system completely separate. And I just feel like the way the world works, I just can't see like how countries anymore can work by themselves. It's almost like you're either with us or without us. We'll have to see how that plays out over the next few years, but I'm really interested to see that from the financial perspective. And guys, someone mentioned in the comments in the recent XDC video, do you hold XRP? Yes, I do. Absolutely. It's one of my first projects that I got involved in. It's certainly something I accumulate every month, particularly as it's under $1 right now. But I always called it the triple X crypto. I used to do a video on all three, but I chose to split them open, XLM, XDC, XRP, just because they have their own sort of way of working, it was difficult to talk about all three of them in one go in one video. So yes, absolutely, XRP is on there. I don't do many videos of XRP because there's like millions of them out there already, and I'll just be basically, I mean, if you want me to do XRP videos, just give me a shout, and for sure I'll start doing them, maybe like once a week or something. But I do, by the way, if I do go into XRP, I'll go down rabbit holes. So don't expect just some boring videos for sure. But I do like to talk about what XRP is doing and why, how, this lawsuit nonsense. If anyone out there is saying, oh, it's going to be this date, it's going to be this date, they're lying. They have zero idea. I stopped listening to that about a month after the lawsuit occurred because I was like, there's no way anyone knows unless you're in that courtroom. And there's no defined dates or anything. But anyway, back to the topic of Stellar Lumens. Really good few articles to look at as well. Danielle Dixon's done this really cool blog about diversity and equality, getting more women in tech, which is a really cool thing. It's something that I've stood by for many, many, many years now, particularly in industries that I worked in a few years back, going to some really cool awards evenings to promote this aspect. For sure, I hope it keeps driving. But it's really cool to see someone of that position pushing this kind of conversation, because it really is something for sure that's there's so many great minds out there, and it's really cool to see the diversity out there. So do give that a read. It's definitely really cool. We will jump now, guys, straight into this chart. By the way, everyone always complains about XRP, XLM, XDC. When is it going to move? When is this? When is that? And even going beyond like the $1 marks properly. And I'm always like, well, try and also think about where we are in the world right now with finance. Because in my opinion, these XXX cryptos, is maybe like 2 or 3 other ones, in my opinion, in the background, also doing similar aspects, or indeed the infrastructure behind things, which we do cover, by the way, on our channel. You might work it out yourselves. But these XXX cryptos are humongous utility options for the future. Like this stuff hasn't even been fully turned on, guys. We're in a testing phase, and of course, investors are making a difference to the charts like they do with any other asset. But you might say, oh, why is quant going higher? Why is this going higher? And these are staying low. Well, that's because the other ones are coming out, utilizing them in different ways at different times. In my opinion, these three, particularly Stellar, XLM as well, we know backs things like USDC and other projects in the financial era. I mean, it's even doing like NFTs and stuff, which everyone's doing now, which doesn't really excite me that much. But from the financial perspective, these are, in my opinion, so low. I mean, I was buying probably Stellar back in 2020. I think it was like, I don't know, I can't remember. It was like 10 cents or something. And I thought, wow, that's crazy. And then we had this big tail up. I think this must have been like around May last year, all the way up to 70, 80 cents. That was massive. I didn't sell any because I was just like, oh, I don't know whether this is just going to fly up now. Maybe CBDCs and stuff have been turned on, but they didn't. They came back down. Not really fast. I'm just accumulating XLM. If it's under $1, I'll buy it. My goal is a few years' time anyway. However, yeah, of course, I could have probably done with, in hindsight, maybe making some reaction trades along the way. But hey ho, I'm happy to do what I'm doing. And we're now back down in this way. And, people complain about that. Well, look where we were before that. I mean, obviously, back 2018, in 19, we were higher in these regions already. But we came down, we had the retracement, and we've back down this level. But look at these new higher lows. We're now testing this previous area here back in December 2020 / kind of half January last year. And this is really crucial because we've already had some good testing areas way back here, 2018-19. So on the longer term, we're at a really interesting position for XLM. It's been bouncing around. I mean, we've had the lows down here around about 15 and a half cents over the last sort of month. And it's really exciting because we're now at these lower regions of this macro fib retracement. Obviously, on the long term, there's a big gap to be filled here. And you could argue that, for example, let me just move that across there, sorry. You could for example, argue that we have maybe some potential lower macro levels to identify and confirm support levels at these lower regions of 13, 14. But I feel like we're structuring ourselves. Of course, there's crazy narratives around the world at the moment. We've got to keep an eye on Bitcoin. There is no reason why it couldn't come down to some of these lower regions. For sure, look at these little patterns that are coming out now. We could identify some potential nearer 10-cent marks, but I think that's quite far-fetched. Some big drop-down movements need to happen for that to occur. I do feel like 15 cents is a good stabilized point now for XLM. But I could be made to eat my words there. That's why I'm always cautious in this space. Anyone can speculate, honestly. Like, I do have bags at these lower levels with USDT ready on exchanges at around 12.5 cents, just in case. And if they don't come about, that's fine. I will try and maybe change my strategy as they lower. And if I see the interesting identifiers in RSIs and other indicators, I will probably remove that 12-cent one and place it up slightly lower than what it is right now. That's the name of the game. That's how it's worked for me over the last few years, trying to DCA and accumulate at the lowest possible regions. So at the moment, RSI wise, it's a really good buying opportunity in my opinion. It's not financial advice, just what I'm doing personally. I have indeed been buying around this region as well as the 15-cent mark as well. What I was more interested in is the volumes. The volumes are slowing down. This is a really identifiable point where obviously there's strange things going on in the world. People are not as confident as they are in the markets right now, maybe adjusting their financial patterns in the world, taking money out, whatever it is. But what's key is the stabilization. If we can do this on a buy-sell pattern, we're going to see some sideways trading for sure, similar to like what we saw back here. But what I'm interested in is, what will this identify? Will we have another drop? That's why I felt about the 15 to 12 cent mark again. And it was matched. It was matched on an uptrend as well. But, could we see a repeated pattern like we saw here, but maybe in a smaller emphasis? So that's what I'm waiting for. Like I said, I'm buying right now. I'm also waiting for a bit more of a drop. If it goes up, you're in a win-win because, I am personally, because I've been buying at these lower regions, and I will take some market profits for sure on this time round to try and accumulate more XLM that way. Over the last couple of years, I've been putting a lot of capital in. I feel like now is the time to really start at least using a percentage to trade my way up. That's what I want to try and achieve, as well as putting my money in. So on the MACD, we have switched over yesterday, I believe, into a bit of a bearish mode. That's confirmed here on the, if you want to call it overpurchasing, it's not really much at the moment. It's a bit of a small dip. It's very similar to this market here just now on the 18th of February. So we'll keep an eye on it. Just be cautious. That there's lack of confidence quite a lot in the world with many things, including commodities. I mean, that's another market altogether. So right now, like I said, but more than happy to be entering in here with a potential opportunity for it to come down a bit lower. But I will be using these markers for sure as we go into the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll have a nice positive uprise by the end of March. Moving on to the performance indicator on the right hand side, of course, all in red. It's one of the few projects that I hold actually that's all red. A lot of them are up on the year, but to be fair, I mean, the massive uptake here was incredible. Big talk about XRP and XLM at this time, and it was massively overpurchased, massively overhyped, and we're now back to where it arguably should be if you were to look at a natural pattern of an upward trend. From these lower regions here, we're kind of pretty much on par or on the point where we should probably be. So like I said, really exciting at these lower regions to bounce off and try and obtain that as a big support level to move forwards, take us up to new levels. So very much down on the year to date and the year, but we're still just about holding on to that weekly and the monthly. Albeit we're negative, it's still good to see it at a lower spectrum. It's the 3-month one that I want to start seeing reduce itself, but as time goes by, I'm sure that will happen. We just need to identify and confirm this is definitely the bottom. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm excited about. I love this space. I love what we do. I love what everyone else does. So do let us know in the comments below what you're doing with XLM right now. Don't need to know your bag numbers. Please do not demonstrate those, because that just opens you up for scams and all sorts. So just let us know what you're doing. You're buying, you're selling, you're holding. Love to know. We will do an XRP video if you want it. Just let us know that as well. But until the next one, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.